Hello, everyone. When I was a kid, I always wanted a life coach. Someone who would take me under his or her wing and teach me how to be confident and successful in life. You see, I was a socially awkward kid growing up and I always watched these underdog movies where the underdog, and I thought of myself as an underdog at that time, would get a life coach or find a life coach and they would teach and train someone to be confident, successful, and win against a great evil in that movie. Of course, as I grew up, I realized that's a very naive notion and that life itself teaches you a lot, and everybody that you meet in life has something or the other to teach you. However, there are some instances where some people take it upon themselves to teach you something, go out of their way to teach you something. And you should appreciate these kinds of people. So, today I'd like to talk about three instances in my life where I was privileged to be under the tutelage of a mentor. The first example I'd like to talk about was my music tutor when I was around high school age. We had music teachers in high school, but I used to go for music tuitions outside of school to learn because I was interested in it and I feel like I have an above average voice. So I decided to hone my craft in that. My parents agreed with me. The music tutor to me was a true mentor because instead of just preparing me for an exam or teaching me a curriculum or saying basic things like do this, don't do that, she used to actively listen to each and everything that I sang, and at the end of it gave me actionable advice. For example, she used to say things like, I feel like you need to work on your lower register and you need to do some exercises. Here are some things you can do in different parts of the day. Here is something you can incorporate in your practice, and here's how you can improve upon that. And that will improve your singing overall. That gives the first lesson of a mentor. A mentor always gives you actionable advice instead of giving you generic tips. The second example I'd like to give is Mr. Michael Fisher. Now, in the summer of 2015, I wrote articles for a tech website called pocketnow.com, and Mr. Michael Fisher was the editorial director. And what that meant was he was in charge of all the different pieces that went into the website. When I joined Pocket Now, I told Mr. Michael Fisher that I would really love to be a better writer. And this is one of the reasons behind me joining Pocket Now, not just because I like technology and I like writing. And he took that upon himself. And what he did for me was that we worked remotely, so we shared documents via Google Drive. And he could have very easily just been a copy editor or a proofreader. He could have just easily said, remove this space, remove this period, add some punctuation, change this to that, things of that nature. But he read through my entire piece and he used to give detailed comments on each and every paragraph, each and every word, and showed me how the changes that he was suggesting changed how the piece sounded, how it looked, the story behind it also. He showed me the bigger picture behind the things that he was telling me, and also telling me how I can improve in my writing. So that's the second lesson that I got. And that is, a mentor shows you the bigger picture and not just pinpointed feedback. And the third mentor I'd like to talk about is Mr. Mike Wilson. I took a class under Mr. Mike Wilson in my first semester of grad school, and I had the privilege of being his teaching assistant for the third semester of grad school. And in that time, I was going to start my job search, and it was a bit of a time of apprehension in my life. And he understood that, and I went to him for advice, expecting some generic career advice about do this, don't do that, how to write a resume, cover letter, how to talk about things in a phone interview and regular interview and all these things. But he understood the core of my apprehension, and that was the fact that he realized I was new to the United States. I was not very well versed in the unwritten rules the tacit social agreements between people in this new culture. And he really helped me ingratiate myself to this culture. And what he did was he used to tell me basic things about how to write an email, what are some things that you should aim for, colloquialisms and things of that nature, not just emails, but in real life communications, how are the ways in which you are supposed to communicate the I'm in the UX field, so think the technical terminologies of UX and not just about the knowledge that you have, but also how you know how to use these tools in your toolbox. And he also introduced me to people in his professional network. We used to have social events where he invited me. He didn't have to do any of these things, but he did because of the next lesson of a mentor, which is a mentor takes genuine interest in you as a person. And that's the key between a mentor and some life coach, for example. In the end, I just want to say, when I was a kid, I wanted a life coach who would just give me steps to success. But I realized what you really need in life is a mentor who gives you actionable advice, shows you the bigger picture of the feedback that's being given, and has a genuine interest in you as a person. And I'd like to say, if now that I know these things, you should stay away from people who call themselves a life coach. Again, that's just my opinion. I'd like to know what you guys think. So definitely reach out to me in the comments. And if you like what I had to say, do leave a like and watch other videos that I have made in the past. I'll link them as well. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, goodbye and good night.